Hey guys, so I wanted to talk about the new Sora text to video model that came out. OpenAI had just released it, and it's really amazing. It's crazy what it can do already. And I just wanted to kind of go over what they have on their webpage here and trying to go into a little bit more detail, and let's just get into the real nitty gritty and see how good this stuff looks because it's really amazing how, the quality of these videos. I don't know, it's weird to me. Like I can tell that it's AI generated because if you kind of look at her feet here, it's not really interacting with the puddles on the ground, and her feet doesn't really slide, but they look weird. How they interact with the ground. So you see there, it kind of replayed twice, her stepping over and over again. I don't know if you caught that, but just the quality of it is insane. And I'm looking at this on a 4K monitor, and it's really hard to find like issues with it. Now, right there for a moment, it looked like she got older for a second. Like she went from a younger looking woman to an older looking woman. So that's something I noticed. And the people in the background, this is what really surprises me about this, is how coherent the people are in the background. Like I noticed, like, okay, some of them have like similar faces. Obviously this is based in like Tokyo or China, but it's just crazy how coherent the people are in the background. It's hard to find anything that is messed up is basically what I'm saying, because with AI video, over the past few years, it's been pretty easy to spot, little details and stuff that looks off about something. But this new model is doing things that I didn't think that they would be capable of doing for another year or so. So it's really surprising to see how far we've come in such a short period of time. I shouldn't say I'm surprised because of the exponential growth of AI and just how fast things can improve. But it's crazy. It's going to get to the point where you can just say what you want in a video and it will automatically just be made for you. So you won't even need the movie industry anymore. You'll be able to make your own movies just by thinking of it in your head. So it says here that we're teaching AI to understand and simulate the physical world in motion. Now, are they really teaching AI to do that? Or what's really crazy to me is AI teaching itself to understand and simulate the physical world. Because how do you really teach an AI to understand and simulate the physical world? I think that is an overstatement on their part. I'm pretty sure the AI probably figured out this stuff on its own for the most part. They just have a lot of power to put behind it. Now, safety. Yeah, we know for a fact that safety is pretty much out the door. These companies, they don't want to be held accountable for anything that might go wrong concerning safety. So, of course, they're going to say things like this: important safety steps, available. They're basically wanting to make sure that the model cannot generate stuff that's not safe for work, like violence, sex, nudity, anything that applies to, something that is going to be not family friendly, pretty much. But just looking at these videos, it's amazing how coherent everything is. And it's hard to believe that it's not an actual video, right? I'm sure that it's getting context from the videos that it learned from, right? But this looks so realistic. This looks like a real dog basically jumping from one windowsill to the other. I don't know. It's just, you could see his eye kind of messed up there, unless he's just a dog that has like a messed up eye. You could see that. And it's just really hard to spot like the issues with it. Yeah, this is crazy. Let's look at the next one here. So this is more of an animated looking one, but he's doing kind of the same motion over and over again. So that's pretty easy for an AI to do, but just how good it looks. For what it is. Another thing is he's got way too many toes. It looks like too many fingers, but it still looks 10 times better than anything I've seen yet out of Pika Labs, out of Runway ML. Out of anything you can do with Stable Diffusion, this was done with just a simple text prompt. So you can see down below here, it tells us what the prompt was. And it's a pretty simple prompt. There's really not a whole lot to it. So we go to the next one here. We got an iguana. And this looks really highly detailed. This looks like something off of Discovery Channel. You know, and if you didn't know the difference, you probably would think that it was some kind of video from Discovery Channel. Or somebody took at a zoo. Right? I mean, it's even moving its eyes around like it would. You know, like the chameleons, they can move their eyes all over the place and in different directions, opposite directions. So it just, the detail is crazy. This is crazy. This is so hard to believe. And this one, I could see it was probably easier for the AI because it probably had a lot of context on videos like this of chameleons. So it's probably much easier for an AI to generate something like this rather than something that is unrealistic. So this is a little bit more unrealistic because how many times you're going to see a dog taking a selfie of itself. And so here we go. It's got Corgi vlogging itself. It's pretty funny though how the pole here is just coming out of its chest. But just the consistency, you got the waves in the background. And there's something I noticed right there. The bird kind of just disappears. Like here's one hopping around behind him. We got a glitch in the matrix here, but yeah, it still looks really good for what it is. I mean, the corgis animates really well, and the fact that the glasses are staying on his head so well, it's like the glasses are like stuck in his ears or stuck underneath his ears. I don't see how he's holding them glasses on his face, but it doesn't make sense. But if it's funny, it doesn't matter. So we got the little cat, and this looks really cool. I like this shot a lot. How it really just follows the cat. And you can see everything is so coherent. It just lines up with him. And he's running down this valley of plants. That would be a really good shot for like a movie or something cinematic. And these right here amaze me too. How it's able to get coherency with all these different buildings and structures and stuff like that. Just like a drone shot. And this is really complicated architecture. And it's able to render it out. And you can kind of see, you know, it's like, there are some things a little bit off with some of the textures and stuff like that, but it looks like it was really a drone shot. This is pretty cool, you know, like it's making the guys look all miniature. And look at this is funny, like this thing's driving around and it's freaking bouncing off the other workers and stuff. And he's going backwards, and so this guy's off the rails. I think he would probably be fired if he drove like that in real life. So here we got just a cloud man in space. And he's generating lightning. So, yeah, you can pretty much ask for whatever you want, and it pretty much tries to come up with it. So this is another one that should be pretty easy to do because it probably has a lot of context on animals and how they move and stuff like that. So there's nothing really unrealistic about this. You know, the unrealistic things is probably going to be where you're going to notice some inconsistency. So, yeah. This is grounded in realism. Of course, you can have a train like this, but still, even if it is, it's still very consistent how it generates this train. I mean, you would expect to see like the carts glitching out, different things going on in the background. It doesn't really have to change the background much. It seems like it's keeping the background pretty consistent here. I don't see anything really moving in the background. There's no clouds really for that kind of context. Besides these bushes down here, they're kind of blowing in the wind. I don't know if you can see that, but yeah, you can see the bushes blowing in the wind. There was a little bit of a glitch right there. You can see where the smoke is kind of falling off. You can see like it generates some kind of noise. It leaves like a noise behind, but I guess, I don't know if that's how smoke looks in real life when you're actually watching like that, because I've never really looked at it that way. But this is insane. This is next level capabilities. Next level. And it really surprises me because I did not expect to see a video model like this so soon. And the fact that they can generate whole videos for over a minute. I believe this one of the videos here. Let me go back to the capabilities here. So one of the videos here, this video is 60 seconds long. So to put that into context, I mean, if you were trying to generate something like this on your local computer, you would have to have like H100s. You'd have to have some decent hardware to generate a video like this for that long, because that takes a lot of VRAM to generate a video that long and that consistent, for that matter. So this is a big deal, and they've got some serious hardware if they're going to make it to where everybody's going to be able to use these models, yeah, this is something that you're going to have to be paying for. I would about guarantee that. This right here, this video right here is so realistic looking. It's almost like it doesn't make much sense. It looks like something that was done like the old VFX, because if you look at how the wool and stuff is on the mammoth and the way like it steps on the ground here, you can see like its foot comes up and it just kind of lightly like taps the ground, but then they've got all this dust coming up behind them like you're doing something crazy. But this reminds me of like the visual effects from like some old 1980s movie or something. And I always used to love practical effects. Practical effects was the best, you know. So the fact that we're getting stuff like this that looks kind of like old practical effects, I mean, that's exciting for me. I really want to tinker with this. This looks really good. He kind of cloned himself there for a second because there was one in the background and then it showed his face. So this one's kind of hard to tell much about because there's so many clipping. You know, it's just cutting from one scene to the next, you know, every couple of seconds. You really don't get much time to look at everything and just take it all in. But this would be really good for people who want to make like a sci-fi cinematic type video. I mean, you can do it. You could do pretty much anything with this model. The way it looks so far, you can do pretty much anything. Especially when it comes to these more realistic shots. These tend to work a lot better, it seems. Now, when they say they're emulating physics, and they're emulating this, it says it simulates the physical world in motion. Well, that makes sense, you know, because if you wanted an AI video to look better, how you would go about doing it is basically generating a video inside of like a 3D software like Blender or Unreal Engine. You could generate an animation inside of Unreal Engine, and then you could have AI come over top of it and basically fix any of the problems, doing all the texturing and stuff like that. So that's how I was going to go about doing AI videos. But now that I've seen this, I don't know. I don't know if it's really worth wasting my time trying to make an AI video in Unreal Engine and then using AI to go over it and make it look more realistic. That's pretty much what I think this is doing. I think that it is emulating a three-dimensional physical world in the background, and then there's like an AI image generator that's going over top of the frames that were generated from the 3D environment and the basically the physics environment, and it's going over top of that and it's making it look realistic. That's how I would assume this is working. So it's probably two different models on top of each other, at least two for that matter. And they're both interacting with each other, if that makes sense. I hope it does. So when it comes to the more unrealistic stuff, it's getting close. It's getting real close to looking good. Almost, you know, Pixar style animations. This one looks really good. But then you got, okay, his tongue is not really emoting much. His hand on the inside there kind of looks like wax. But you notice the wax is melting on the side here. It's melting. Now, it should be melting a lot slower. I mean, if you're going to be realistic about it. Yeah. And then you can see like something dripping down the side or something if you really wanted to make it look better. But this is good just for something that just came out of text, you know, just describing something with text, and here's what you're getting. This is crazy. So here's another one with like origami style fishes. And this is where you can kind of see, I can't really go on full screen, but that's crazy. I mean, it does look like actual paper mache or origami. And this one right here, this looks like an actual bird. I mean, I don't know about you, but I mean, to me, it looks like an actual bird. How are they doing this? And as like I was saying, they have to have at least two different models working in tandem. So they've got some kind of 3D model that's learned 3D and physical space and physics, basically. So 3D, physical space, physics, it understands all of that logic. And then there's another model coming in and doing all the texturing work, right? And doing all the animations. So this is why you have to know that it understands physics, because the boats are basically trying to stay coherent with the waves of the coffee. And look at this. It's crazy. Now you can kind of, and this one you can kind of tell, you know, they're not blending in that well with the coffee, right? You can tell that it's like somebody stuck a 3D model inside this coffee pot, right? And it just tried to move it around with the waves and stuff like that. They're not blending in really well with the coffee, but it's still, would it look right if you looked at a cup of coffee? How would you imagine two ships, you know, floating around in your cup? How would you imagine that? Come on. This right here, this looks like a real person reading a book. And the book is actually like blowing in the wind. And you get the clouds moving in the background above him. I mean, man, this stuff is really exciting. And it's crazy that we've come this far in such a short period of time. Because I can remember, and I'm sure everybody remembers, when everything used to look like just messed up garbage or claymation, basically. So looking at the research tab here, it says Sora is a diffusion model which generates video by starting off with one that looks like static noise and gradually transforms it by removing the noise over many steps. So I'm not sure how many steps it's taking, but I would assume that it's taking a lot. But if it's able to do it very fast, then they have to have a lot of computing power behind that. Or it's capable of generating entire videos all at once or extending generated videos to make them longer. By giving the model foresight of many frames at a time, we've solved a challenging problem of making sure the subject stays the same. So this is like temporal consistency or coherence, basically. Basically, it's going through and it's checking all the frames and it's making sure that they're staying coherent with the original video. Similar to GPT models, Sora uses a transformer architecture, unlocking superior scaling performance. We represent videos, images as collections of smaller units of data called patches, each of which is akin to a token in GPT. Unifying how we represent data, we can train diffusion transformers on a wider range of visual data than was possible before. Sora builds on past research in DALL-E 3 and GPT models. It uses recaptioning technique from DALL-E 3, which involves generating highly descriptive captions for visual training data. As a result, the model is able to follow users' text instructions. So basically, what this is that you can enter a simple prompt, but what it's doing is taking your prompt and making it a little bit more complicated and easier to understand for the AI model and generating the video from that. So you don't necessarily have to enter in a complicated instruction. You just got to give it a brief details of what you want to see, and it will fill in the gaps. In addition, being able to generate videos solely from text instructions, the model is able to take an existing still image and generate a video from it, animating image contents with accuracy and attention to small detail. See, this is something I'm really curious about because, you know, I've got a whole library of images that I've generated using AI, and this right here, being able to do that, I mean, come on, everybody's got some image that they generate, they'd like to see it come to life. And imagine like taking yourself and putting yourself into these videos, or actors or people from your family, you know, if you really wanted to do some fun stuff with it. So this is a big kicker right here. It says Sora serves as foundation. So this is just the beginning, guys. You know, it's just the beginning for models that can understand and simulate the real world. So this is what they're going for. So they're wanting to simulate actual reality. And of course it makes sense. If you want to make better videos, why not build them within a simulation? This is Matrix territory right here. So we're getting into the Matrix now because they're basically simulating reality. So I just want to see what everybody thought about this. I think it's crazy. I think it's nuts, all the stuff that they can do with it right now. Some of these videos, they just don't make any sense to me because of my experience with videos and making videos with AI. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Look at this. This is nuts. Think about this. Think about the repercussions of what this is going to be at in another year's time. Think about where this is going. This right here, this is like a CGI shot, okay? This right here would normally cost thousands of dollars, you know, people having to be paid to create a CGI shot like this of a robot just looking around. And look how realistic it looks. This is next level And I'm still one of those people in the boats where I don't think everybody really understands where AI is at right now and the repercussions that it's going to have on society. I think there's a lot of people that still haven't realized yet where we're going with this. And there's a bunch of people who watch like the AI news and stuff like that on YouTube, and some people get it from Reddit, which is all well and good. But I think that there is a large proportion of people in society right now that's looking at this and thinking this is no big deal. They're thinking that this is not a problem. But if you're somebody who is creative and you see this and you've been working in a studio your whole life and you're just like, okay, this is starting to scare me now. You got to be at that point where you're thinking this thing might just take my job. And that's what's going to happen. It's only a matter of time. And there's a lot of people that are still fooling themselves thinking, well, my job is safe because of this, because I have to interact with people. It's more of a social job. You know what I mean? So they'll be like, oh, well, it's not going to go away anytime soon. You don't know that. There's some people that would rather talk to an AI than they would talk to a real person. And this is coming from a very introverted person because I don't like talking to people. I really don't. Otherwise, I'd be making more videos where I'm talking to myself. But I do use a lot of AI and shit to voice my videos because I live in a family, and when you've got a family and there's people everywhere in your house, there's a lot of background noise that goes on. And the only time that I can really record stuff is when they're all asleep. So I'm sorry that if you watched my videos and you haven't seen me update in a while and I haven't put any new videos out in a while, and you're thinking, where did he go? It's because of that, and my family keeps me busy too. And, there's times when I want to take time to play a game or something new. I've been playing Pal World here recently, man. That game pretty much consumed my life. But look at this. That is crazy. It's how it's simulating the snow, I should say. It is simulating the snow. Look at this. That looks real to me. And I would argue that probably was from a real video of puppies just playing in the snow, and the AI just recreated. But who knows? May not have. Maybe this is all from scratch. But I just wanted to talk about this, see what you guys thought of it. I think it's pretty cool. I think it's the next level, pretty much. I mean, it's hard to say where this is going to be at in another year. If it's this far now, then you're not going to be able to tell the difference between an AI video and a real video in the coming years. It's going to be so easy to deceive people. And I thought it was cool making deep fakes, and I was going to make a tutorial about how I went about making deep fakes with the Reese Witherspoon Barbie video. I was like, maybe I should make a tutorial and show these people how it's done because it's so easy. It's not hard. The only technical part of it is installing the software from a repository. So installing the software from a repository is probably the most technical part of it. But anybody can install Python on their computer and run a command. Like, this doesn't require some super genius to do. See this? This is crazy how realistic this looks. And you can even see, like, it's moving the sand around. It's moving the particles around it. I'd really like to see if anybody could find or scour the web and see if they could find the original footage of something like this. Like, it's hard to believe. It's so hard to believe that I'm thinking that it's just AI replicated a video that it learned or something like that. It's hard for me to think that it just made this on its own. Look at this. See, I want to see the more unrealistic stuff because this stuff right here, this could have been from a real video. Bunch of paper airplanes, but the fact that they're moving around, they're not actually falling down, that's pretty unrealistic. Then we got the Garfield cat in the bed, aggravating. It's got 2 paws. Okay, there we go. I have to see something like that in order to know. Like, there we go. You see that? So I don't know if you caught that, but it's got 2 paws right there. It had 1 paw up there, and it decided to raise another paw. So this is a 3-armed cat. So yeah, when you catch little things like that, that's when you know it's AI generated. So I was getting worried there for a second. I was afraid I wasn't going to catch something. And we got the weird looking birds sitting on a tree limb. And you even got some baboons back here. So I'm wondering if like the original footage was actually baboons sitting on the tree limb, and it replaced the baboons with birds. Because back there, you can clearly see that that's like a baboon, but it tries to transform it into a bird. That is a baboon back there. So yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking that these birds were originally baboons, and little monkeys sitting on that tree, and then they got transformed into a bird. But you can kind of tell by looking at the faces. It's kind of weird. Weird looking bird. Yeah. So Lunar New Year. This is just another thing that it's something that would be easy for the AI to generate. Okay, so this to me is not that special. So let's look up here. So this right here would be a little bit harder because, you know, we're going back in time. Now I'm sure there might be footage like this. Maybe. I don't know if cameras were really that prevalent back there in that time during the gold rush. So yeah, this is like Red Dead Redemption except with AI. And here, this one right here, this looks really good. Realistic, like he's dusting the rocks off. I don't know why he's dusting the rocks off, but he's sweeping them rocks pretty good. I want to make sure they're clean. And here we've got, it's just a very close-up shot of a woman's eye, and this looks so freaking real, you know. But then again, this is something that's easy because I'm sure the AI has like hundreds, if not thousands, of videos of people like their eyes close up and stuff. You can tell she's got some heavy makeup on because you can see the powder and stuff on her face. She's got some makeup. And you can see like the individual pores from her skin and her eyelashes, how detailed they are. Look at this. Look at that. That's crazy. And here, see, you got something a little bit more unrealistic. So it has a harder time, you know, trying to produce videos like this because it's unrealistic. But here's the thing. What is it based its training off of? Because when you say cartoon kangaroo, that's not realistic, right? It's basing its training off of other cartoons that it's watched. So that's how it's producing this. And I'd say if it was all just realistic stuff and it didn't know what a cartoon was, it would make a realistic looking kangaroo. So you can see kind of like the diffusion in that top of that roof. The shirt looks a little bit fuzzy. You can tell right there. And there's something uncanny about this kid. Because when we go back, just watch how he animates himself. Something a little bit uncanny about that kid. So that's how you know you're watching an AI video. And then you can kind of tell that this looks a little bit off. I don't know if streets work like that, but yeah. So I'm always looking for the mistakes, you know, so I can convince myself that it's AI generated and not something real. Yeah, this one definitely easier to tell because they just keep reproducing themselves and are just coming out of nowhere. Petri dish with bamboo forest growing within has tiny red pandas running around. So it does kind of follow the prompt, but I would assume what the person really wanted was them inside the Petri dish and like a little forest or an island or something inside that Petri dish. But they're just kind of running out of the Petri dish and doing whatever they want. And they don't even look like red pandas. They look like some weird, like mutated pandas that only have 2 legs. So that's some weird shit. And here we go. This should definitely be harder for the AI because it's having to produce multiple videos at once. And it's crazy that it's able to do this. I mean, it's making all these videos at once and putting them on these TV screens. So now you can kind of see where it's messing up a little bit on some of these videos, like their faces are messing up. So look at that. It's just this weird faces in the background there. But that just kind of adds to whatever this shot is supposed to be. It makes it more uncanny, in my opinion, and that actually improves the shot, you know, if he's going to use it for some kind of film or short film. Look at this. This is crazy. Yeah. Yeah, I have a feeling that a lot of visual effects artists, 3D modelers, they're probably crapping in their pants right now from seeing this. You know, and then there's going to be this crowd of people who says, oh, well, the AI will never be as good as the best artist, or they'll never be able to reproduce styles and stuff the same way that some people can do. It just isn't going to happen. It is happening, okay? It is happening. Look at the next level that we've gotten to. And this is only just the beginning. Like they said, this is a foundation model, and it's only going to get better over time. So that's what people really need to try and understand, is that this is just the beginning. So that's about all I got to say. Thanks for watching, guys, and hope to see you in the next one.